Hey, and welcome back to the channel. Today I would like to do a little bit theory review, and here you can see my current deck list, and um, I want to talk about the cards I played, the decks I played, and yeah, let's start. Of course, you play Kambi, your all the Purrely cards. The first interesting card is Dark Ruler. Um, I think you have to decide between Slayer and Dark Ruler. Both cards are not bad, uh, but Slayer is always better against Malice, and Dark Ruler is better against Mitsurugi because you deal with more cards when they play Mitsurugi Riser, and because Mitsurugi Riser is better than not better is played more than Malice. So currently, I would like to play Dark Ruler. And when you play Dark Ruler instead of Ultimate Slayer, you had a lot of space in your Exa deck, but we come later to the Exa deck. The next change is I play now three Foolish Burial Goods because I think this card is amazing. It's amazing because you have so many options with this card. You can send so many different cards that could help you in any situation. But for the targets, we go later into these. Um, the reason why you have to choose between Dark Ruler and Slayer, I think, is only my opinion, because I think Lightning Storm and Duster are better breaker than both of these. So I would like to main deck these and main deck another breaker with Dark Ruler here. Because Lightning Storm and Duster is a better breaker against Malice and Mitsurugi. Against Malice, it's very good because you can clear the whole back row. Yeah, that's what the card does. And a lot of interruptions come from the back row of Malice. Um, and against Mitsurugi, you can deal with the quick spell and so with the Murakumo board wipe. So I think this is in general better cards. The next card is Metal for Fusion. That's the first target of Foolish Burial Goods. It's nothing new. I played this in the past a lot of times, so yeah, this is fine. Then some Pearly cards, and the Talents is unstable. And then I play the Frost because Frost is kinda like Foolish Burial Goods. You can do a lot of stuff with Frost. You in the main deck you can add your talents, you can add your breaker with Dark Ruler or with Duster Lightning Storm. And you can set or add the Yeep if you get Druid or Hand Trap going first and cannot play after that. You can set your Yeep and then you have already established your Noir. The other target is Blackcoat. It's very strong to set it with Frost. The on-field effect is very strong of Blackcoat. And when you go second, you could add Blackout, but and discard it with a quick spell. But in the most cases, you have a better way, a better card you can add with Frost. And that's for the main deck. Let's go into the side deck. I for the hand traps I played is mainly Lancia and Droll. You, in my opinion, you cannot play mediocre hand traps with Veiler, Imperm, Ash Blossom, Ghost Spell, Nibiru. This is not very impactful, all these cards. And you cannot play many hand traps, so the hand traps you should play should be very impactful. And Lancia is very impactful against Malice, and Dro is very impactful against Riser or Mitsurugi, or even Mitsurugi Riser or Mermaid or something like that. So I would like to play these for going second and even going first, because you can draw with Sleepy Memory into these cards. Um, so what you doing in game one when you start? You try to summon your Noir and make an unoutable with a multiple delicious memory, so you win because your opponent cannot out your Noir. But what you do in game two or game three when you go first, you add or you try to get to the sleepy memory, both if you can. So you draw a lot of cards, because after siding you can draw into something. You can draw into Lancia and into Droll. So after the siding, I think it is more important to attach these to your Noir. Um, I would attach, I would prefer the delicious memory when I'm completely sure that your opponent cannot out your Noir. Then you prioritize your delicious memory. When you play something like Blue Eyes, I'm 100% sure that Blue Eyes cannot out an Big Noir. So I think the you should attach both delicious memory over the sleepy memory. Of course, you can draw into Droll with sleepy memory, um, and Droll is good against blue eyes, but you don't need the gambling to draw an hand trap when you can summon a Noir. Your opponent cannot out this. But when you play against pure Metsurugi, they have an out. They have the, I don't know the name, the Wuzu, and this is a Kaiju, so he can out your Noir pretty easily. That means you attach your Sleepy Memory to your Noir to draw into Droll and try to survive this turn. Then the next card I played is Phantasme. In the last profiles, I played Fuvalos, but I think Phantasma could be better. In my experience, Fuvalos never resolves. This always get ashed and called bite or get cross outed, and Fuvalos, you drop it, you have 4 cards in hand, and this Fuvalos don't resolve. And so I decided to play Phantasma. Your opponent cannot call by it, your opponent cannot cross out it. In the normal case, he could ash it. This is mainly for Malice, of course. But when Malice player decided to Ash Blossom the Phantasma, it's stay on in the hand, and you can summon it again in your turn and fix your hand and draw a lot of cards, because in the most cases on the Malice board, when you can drop your Phantasma, there are 3 or 4 link monsters on the field. So Phantasma is not in budget alternative. I think Phantasma could be really better against Malice than Fuvalos. Yeah, so I will try out Phantasma. And Phantasma is something like not only good against Malice, it's good against Blue Eyes, because there's summon there link 1, and you have the targeting protection of the 20 Veiler they add from the deck. And then let's start with the interesting part, the Floodgate army here. Um, when you play against Malice and play against Mitsurugi, there might have an out for your Noir. Mitsurugi can play the Kaiju, and Malice can change the attack and defense. And when you don't summon a Noir with Double Delicious over Plump, there are ways to out this Noir. So you cannot trust your Noir to 100%, and you need other options to win this game. Um, and here is where Foolish Goods and Frost shines. Um, you can set and send with these cards a lot of cards. The first card is Artifact Sanctum. Of course, this is in Frost target. When you get Druid, when you get Ashed, whatever, you can use Frost to set your Sanctum going first against Malice. You always side into Lancia, of course. And in Fury, you have your Noir and a Lancia, and even if he can out the Noir, he cannot do much under Lancia, and you might win this game. The next card is I start with Mischief of the Gnomes, and here you can see why these cards are so important. Mischief of the Gnomes is a target for Mitsurugi and Ryzel, and it's a target for Foolish Goods and Frost. So this card is very good against both of these decks. And when you have an foolish, what's happening here? And when you have Foolish Goods and or you have Frost, you can set or send this Mischiefs of the Gnomes. That means your opponent cannot play that much, and you have your normal setup plus an Floodgate. And with these 5 cards, and even you can draw it in your opening hand, you have 6 cards to have they are really impactful against Mitsurugi. And I think the card Shines is kind of like Black Goat. It's a target for both of these cards, and this is very powerful in my opinion. The next card in my side deck is the Scareclaw Twinsaw. The first effect isn't relevant, the second effect is relevant. If a link 3 or higher monster is on the field, you can banish this card from a graveyard. For the rest of this turn, neither player can activate the effects of link monsters on the field. This is an card when you play against Malice, mostly going second, but I think you can side into it going first when the side deck patterns are correct. Because what you're doing with this card is use your Foolish Burial Goods as a best breaker you can have. They can have, or maybe they summon their Code Talker, this one. This is a negate. You can negate the Foolish, or you can negate this card with the Code Talker. So you have to out or to force this one at first. Then you can send this card with Foolish, use it in the graveyard, and Whitebinder and Crypta are dead. They have, I think, 1 interruption left with the MTP. So this card makes a lot of sense, I think. The next card is Different Dimension Ground. This is a target for Frost. And it's good, not very good against Malice, not good against Mitsurugi Ryzel. But this is for some Fiendsmith decks, for Memento, for Mermail. So you have a target with Frost for these kind of rogue decks. The next card is D-Barrier, and this is also a target for Frost. It's for Ryzel, it's for Mitsurugi, and some other decks like Memento. So it covers a lot of decks. maybe some synchro decks. Um, yeah, and the best thing of all these cards is it is enough to play one of these cards, because you have always in the main deck your targets to set and send, to get to these cards pretty consistent. And the last card I play is one Yeep, because more copies of Yeeps play very good around draw and Lockbird, or at least when your opponent drops and draw and Lockbird, the chances are higher that you already have Yeep. Yeah, in the past I played 2 Yeeps in the side deck, but I cannot fit the last copy in the side deck. And with Frost, there are basically other copies of Yeep when you draw Frost, and when your opponent hand traps you. And when your opponent don't hand traps you, you might get your Noir already. So in every case, you should get to your Noir. Yeah, that is the side deck. And here's why Frost and Foolish Goods shine. You can add or set or send so many options for every matchup, for every situation, that I think these cards are mandatory in this deck. But I have to test it more. But I think this is crazy. You should play both of these cards. Yeah, that is the side deck. We can go into the patterns later. And now we go into the extra deck. And with the extra deck, you have now a lot of space when you play Dark Ruler. When you play Slayer, you play your Purrely cards, you play your 4 Slayer targets with Garura, with the Tri-Brigade one, with Malong and Aggregator. And you cut the IP, the Princess Bride, the Zeus, and one Beauty. Because their 4 cards are not necessary. You don't need this one. Yeah, the first card is Zeus. I think when you summon Zeus, 90% of the games you lose the game. That's why Zeus is not very good right now in this deck. Because when you summon Zeus and use the effect, you wipe your own field. That means you don't have a Noir, and there are not a lot of situations you summon Zeus and win after that. Typhoon, it's the same. When you summon Typhoon, you already lose the game. I play 2 Beauty now because I have the space without Slayer. 2 Happy is pretty usual. The Noir, the 2 Plums, and the 2 Noirs. Then you always play the Little Knight and the Anima. I would play always the Condemned Dark Lord because of the timeout, and it's one of the only target you can summon after you use Kambi, because you are locked into Fairy. So I would like to play this card. Then, because you had a lot of space, I would play Princess Bride, because the monster count is not very high. I even cut the bro, and the Princess Bride should always hit. It's very unlucky when Princess Bride miss, and there are some hands you wanna go into Princess Bride. And the last card I added it was an IP Mascarena, because you don't need any other card in this deck. And when you summon, or there are hands, you could summon when you have a lot of gas IP and have an Purrely left on the field. So you can go into IP and in your opponent's turn into SP to have 1 interruption more. But you can cut IP if you don't want to play this card. You don't need the space. You don't need the space of IP, of of Princess Bride, of Zeus, of the Second Beauty. They are not necessary, in my opinion. Yeah, that was my deck, side deck and extra deck, and we can go into the side deck patterns against Malice and Mitsurugi, and what I would side into or side out. When I play against Malice, and I go second, I always side into free Lancia, I always side into free Phantasme, and I side into the Twin Saw. And Dark Ruler is not very good against Malice, so I side out this Dark Ruler. I think Kambi is not very good going second, because you wanna crack this board with Anima, and Kambi locks you. So I see no reason to play Kambi going second against something like Malice, because Anima in the most cases is very important to crack the board or to force some interrupts. And because we have now an other target for the Foolish Goods package, we can side out another of these both Foolish Goods target. And Black Goat is not bad when you call Whitebinder going second, so I would side out the Metal Fusion. And this is your deck list going second against Malice. When you go first against Malice, you should side into the Sanctum. You can side into the Yeep. You wanna have your Kambis and the Metal Foe. And of course, when you go first, you don't need your Breaker with Duster and Lightning Storm, and you have to side out 3 more cards, and I think you can side out this Phantasmi. And Fury, you can keep this in the deck because you can summon your Noir with a few Sleepies, draw into Lancia, or draw into Phantasmi. That draws you into Lancia. So keep Phantasmi is not bad, but I don't know what I would side out for these, because all of these cards are very good going first against Malice. And this is your Malice matchup. And when you go first, you try to make your combo. When you have Thrust, you set your Artifact Sanctum. And when you draw your Foolish Goods and you don't need it for your combo, you send the Twin Saw. Maybe in Black Goat, but I would send the Twin Saw. And that's for going first for Malice in general against the Malice matchup. What you do against Mitsurugi and maybe Mitsurugi Riser. When you go first, you need the Droll. Your Mischiefs is very good, and your D-Barrier is very good. And when you go first, of course, you don't need the Lancia against this deck. You don't need your Twin Saw. And then because you have with Mischiefs of the Gnomes another and a better target with Foolish Burial Goods, so you don't need the other Foolish Burial Goods targets. So I would side out the Metal Fusion. And here is your no. We don't need this Artifact Sanctum. And that should be it. That is your going first list against Mitsurugi and Mitsurugi Riser. And when you play against pure Riser, this is still fine. The D-Barrier is good. The Mischiefs of the Gnomes is good. Yeah. And when you play against Mitsurugi going second, You wanna side into your Dark Ruler, into your Breaker. We don't need the second Deep. We don't need the Deep Area. We don't need the Mischief. And the Dawn Angel Kambi is bad going second. And here you have your going second list against Mitsurugi. Yeah. With a foolish target, you have your Black Goat to call Detonator in the most cases, or call Murakumo, so Murakumo cannot wipe your board. Depends what you need with gods. And I think now you can see why Foolish Goods and Thrust are so important or so great in this deck. In every case, if you're going first, if you're going second, whatever match, whatever your opponent plays, these cards can send always great cards to the graveyard, set or add. And another reason for these cards, why these cards are so good, are because some decks can out noir, and you have to play other interruptions. That means your first win condition is let's build for going first against Mitsurugi Rise as an example. Side out the Breaker. Don't need the Dark Ruler and the Duster. So that's your going first list against Mitsurugi. Your first win condition is, of course, summon Noir, like always. But your opponent can out it if he plays the Kaiju, the Wuzu. That means you summon your Noir with your Sleepy Memory. That brings you to your second win condition with the draws into Drawin Lockbird. So outing in Noir under Drawin Lockbird is very hard because it's very hard to out it and OTK. And when you survive the turn, you might win this game. So your second win condition is draw into an impactful hand trap. And you have a third win condition with Foolish Goods and with Thrust. You have with Foolish Goods, your targets with Mischief and Blackout. These cards are stopping your opponent by playing. Mischief is I would more prioritize Mischief because this is so insane against Mitsurugi and Mitsurugi Riser. And you also can Blackout to call something like Murakumo. When you have Thrust, you could set your Blackout and call the Wuzu, and they cannot special summon the Wuzu except from the graveyard. So your opponent cannot Kaiju you with Blackout on the field. That's for Foolish. And for Thrust, you have D-Barrier to call Ritual. You have the Mischief of a Gnome to stun your opponent by 2 turns. Or you have your Blackout to set. Yeah, so you have 3 win conditions to win against something like Mitsurugi. You don't need to hide into behind your Noir. You have alternative win conditions, and I think this is very important that you play layered interruptions with some cards in hand, with some cards on the field with Noir, with in hand draw Lockbird, with some cards on the field with Noir and with Frost targets, and with cards in the graveyard with Foolish Burial Goods and Mischief of the Gnomes and Blackout. So your opponent cannot out your board, I think, or cannot out OTK in the most cases. You have to be very unlucky um, that your opponent cannot OTK, that your opponent can OTK you. But in general, this could help you to play against this Wuzo, this Kaiju. And it's the same against Malice. You have going first your Lancia, you have your Sanctum, you have your Twinsaw, you don't have your Drolls, you don't have your Mischief, you don't need this Barrier, and going first, yeah, that should be it, going first. It's the same. Your first win condition is Noir, but sometimes you cannot summon your Noir over Plump with 2 Delicious, and then your opponent can out it with an access code or something like that, or the ATK switch. But it's the same. Your first interruption is on the field with Noir. You have the next interruption on the field with Thrust into Sanctum into Lancia, and Thrust into Black Code to call something like Whitebinder, maybe an access code or Crypta, kinda depends, but I think in the most cases you call Whitebinder. The next interruption is in your hand. You stack after game 1 your hand with Sleepy in the most cases to draw into Lancia. That is the next win condition, and this is in the hand. And the third win condition is in the graveyard. So when you draw your Twinsaw, when you draw your Foolish Goods, you can send it to the graveyard to stun your opponent, and he cannot OTK you through this card. And that is why I think Foolish Goods and Thrust are crazy in this deck. Yeah. I think I talk about everything I wanted to talk about. And yeah, let me know what you think about these cards, about my theory, and leave a like, leave a comment. It's always good to see that somebody likes the content or is interested in the content, so I can keep doing this. Stay safe, have a nice day, and see you in the next video.